So, yesterday inspired me to make a little meditation video about another work of art hanging in my home. You probably discovered by now that all of them are going to have a story, and this one's no exception. So, this I've had for many years. This is called A Maiden Gathering Flowers, obviously, and it's from the first century. It's obviously a reproduction, but it got very popular. And the reason I bought it when I found it in the J.C. Penney store that at Ridgemar Mall in Fort Worth years ago, the reason I bought it was that it was in my art history book, and I adored art history. I loved seeing how art had shaped the way people think and reflected the way people think throughout all of history. So it was a great, and I was captured with the colors. I think it's really beautiful. And I don't know, it was one of my first pieces that I actually paid some money for. Back in the day where you first married and we were still in graduate school, and I managed to pull together the funds to buy this large picture, and it's been with me ever since. But here's the story. So in one of our moves, we had purchased a beautiful house that was larger than the one we'd had before. And so we were having some friends over, minister friends, after we'd done a concert, some kind of an evening service, something like that. And so one of the older minister friends of ours, just being very kind, he said, "Perianne, take me on a tour. Show me your house." And bless his heart, I thought, well, that's really kind. He wants a little tour. So I took him around, and a lot of the house was the art. And I noticed even I was getting bored with my own tour. And I loved my art. And I thought he really seemed like he was wearing thin and like he'd asked, but maybe he wasn't as into it. So we got to this particular picture, and my sense of humor kicked in. And I turned and said to him, I said, "Now right here," it was hanging on a prominent wall. I said, "Now right here," I posed for this last summer. I just thought that would be funny. And do you know what he said? He went, "Oh, that's nice." And I never dreamed that he wouldn't know I was kidding. I really do not put on Roman togas all that often. And nor have I posed for paintings that look like they're from the classical antiquity period. So it was clear that he didn't know I was kidding, and that he was trying to be either he had quit listening, or he was just trying to be as accepting as he could. And in that moment, I said nothing. I let him misunderstand me completely. I let him completely miss my humor. I let him think I was a silly girl who posed in togas, if that's what he thought. I just let it go, because you know what? It didn't matter, and it was just a bit of fun. And it made a great story. That was, I'm going to say, 20 years ago. And I still remember it, because I don't think ever has any attempt at humor ever been so not recognized. But the broader point I want to make here is that if you're creative, if you're a dreamer, if you're a person who just has this need to see things differently, there are moments you're going to be misunderstood. And my experience standing in front of my Roman toga girl that I did not pose for is that hurts, because you want to be understood. I don't know how many of you have ever seen Inside the Actors Studio, the late James Lipton. At the end, he always closed with a set of questions, and one of them was, if heaven exists and you reach the pearly gates, what do you want to hear God say? And I remember clearly hearing one aging actor say, I want to hear him say, "I got you. I always got you." That's the drive of great art and a lot of creative people, is we want to be understood. And the risk we take every time we launch something out into the blogosphere, videosphere, whatever it is, sphere, the graphic sphere, is that we might not be understood. If something about creativity lives right on the edge of that precipice, okay with falling off now and then, as long as you get through, as long as something gets you. But most of all, as long as the Father gets you. I can assure you, he always gets your jokes. He knows what you posed for and what you were kidding about. He knows you. He gets you. And I can assure you that the truth is that the Father really is saying, I get you, even when people don't get you. There's a scripture, it's kind of a life scripture of mine. Psalm 37:6 says, He will make your righteousness be seen like the light, and your cause like the shining of the sun. That, for me, is a promise of vindication, and I grabbed upon it more than 20 years ago, and it's been something I've clung to because I've been misunderstood a lot. If you dare to be different, if you dare to do things differently, you will be misunderstood. My friend once told me, Perry-Ann, you're not unusual, you're unique. But sometimes I think I'm unique and unusual, but not to him. He made me that way. He loves me, and he gets me. And so today, I just want to encourage you that you actually don't need a broad audience of people understanding you when you have him understanding you, and then he'll help you be understood when you need to be. I think when I first received that promise, Psalm 37:6, into my life, he will make your righteousness be seen like the light, and your cause like the shining of the noonday sun. He will vindicate you. I thought that meant to everybody and in every situation. I thought that was a promise that I would not be misunderstood. Actually, I've grown a little since then, and maturity has taught me that I may be misunderstood, but not in the cases that are critical. He will always bring the understanding that's necessary for the people that you're called to resonate with, but the understanding with him will always be there. And that's the comfort that can make you risk great art, great creativity, great business ideas, great dreams. Doesn't matter whether you call yourself in the creative camp or the more practical camp. We're all dreamers. We're all dreaming a dream. God dreamed a dream, and it's us, and we're dreamers made in his image. So every dreamer, like Joseph, is going to be misunderstood. And when you are, there's one who always gets your jokes. There's one who knows you didn't pose, you were kidding. It was a joke. I would never take this painting down from the wall because it reminds me of a moment when I didn't care, when I could laugh it off. And I believe I'm growing to a point where I don't care and I can laugh it off when I'm misunderstood, even on the things that I think count. That's the security of knowing a God who made you and loves you just like you are. He gets your jokes.